What terrifying truth did Manh Long reveal in his final moments, and why has it left the hospital in absolute shock? Shocking secret. Manh Long's final revelation sent shockwaves throughout the hospital. The nation is gripped by fear. The industry is trembling. And the mystery grows darker with every passing hour. Let's join Red Carpet Reveal to uncover and explore every chilling detail right now. What terrifying truth did Manh Long reveal in his final moments? And why has it left the hospital, and the nation, trembling with fear? The question has consumed fans, fueled headlines, and forced the entertainment world into its darkest reckoning yet. What began as a night of tragedy spiraled into a storm of revelations when whispers of Yu's last words spread from the hospital corridors, shaking not only the staff who heard them but everyone who has since dared to listen. The night of Manh Long's fall was one that should never have happened. The city skyline glowed with its usual neon fire. Music spilled from bars, and laughter filled the air. Then came the scream. A figure plummeted from the top of a luxury high-rise, hitting the ground with a thud so final that onlookers froze in disbelief. When someone cried out his name, the silence that followed was more haunting than the scream itself. Manh Long, the actor, the idol, the rising star who had lit up screens and stages, was gone. Strangers filmed the aftermath. Fans online gasped in horror. News outlets scrambled to report. But the story was only beginning. He was rushed to the hospital, still clinging to the last threads of life. Doctors and nurses fought to stabilize him. The emergency ward buzzing with urgency. Outside, reporters gathered like vultures, their cameras flashing against the sterile walls. Fans arrived too, sobbing, clutching posters and photos, praying for a miracle. But inside those walls, a far more terrifying story unfolded. For in those final moments, as breath faltered and consciousness faded, Manh Long spoke. His words, fragmented but clear enough, sent shivers down the spines of those who heard. According to multiple staff members, "You did not simply whisper pleas for help or call out for a family. He issued a warning. He mentioned betrayal. He named people. They pushed me," he gasped, eyes wild with fear. It wasn't an accident. Nurses glanced at each other, horrified. One doctor reportedly froze, unable to continue his work for a brief second as the weight of those words sank in. Another nurse later admitted to a colleague that Yu had repeated a single name 3 times before his voice broke into silence. The name spread like wildfire. Though no official confirmation has ever been given, the hospital became a fortress of secrecy. Staff were warned not to speak. Security patrolled the halls, and files were locked away. Yet leaks always find their way out. And soon whispers reached the public. Manh Long had revealed a shocking secret before he died. The media seized on the rumor. Headlines screaming what were Yu's last words. Fans debated endlessly online. Some claimed it was Gao Taiyu's name. Others insisted it was Trin Sang. And still others believed Yu had spoken of a wider conspiracy. A shadowy group controlling the industry from behind the scenes. The lack of clarity only deepened the frenzy. The hospital, already overwhelmed with the grief-stricken fans outside its gates, now became the center of suspicion. Why were they silent? Why were records sealed? Why were staff members abruptly reassigned or dismissed? Every action fueled theories of a cover-up. Protesters gathered outside, chanting for the truth, holding signs with Yu's name, lighting candles that flickered against the cold stone walls. At one point, police were dispatched to disperse the crowd. But the chants only grew louder. "Tell us what he said." Meanwhile, the entertainment industry shook to its core. Manh Long's projects were halted mid-production. His commercials pulled from airwaves. Dramas suspended indefinitely. Sponsors fled, terrified of associating with scandal. But for fans, the true betrayal was not commercial, it was emotional. How could the industry that Yu had given his life to now bury his final words? The boy they had loved was gone, and the truth of his departure was being hidden from them. Media began digging deeper. Journalists tracked down hospital staff who had since left their positions. One anonymous nurse claimed Yu had been terrified in his final hours, muttering that they were watching and begging someone to protect the truth. Another source insisted there had been an attempt to erase surveillance footage from the hospital's emergency wing. Leaked documents suggested discrepancies in the official report of his condition, omissions of injuries that seemed inconsistent with a simple fall. Public outrage ignited into fury. Fans who had once spent their days streaming Yu's songs or binge-watching his dramas now marched in the streets demanding accountability. Online detectives dissected every possible timeline, charting Yu's last days, his meetings, his calls, his posts. Conspiracies blossomed. Some claimed he had discovered financial fraud involving industry elites. Others argued he had uncovered dark secrets about exploitation. Some whispered it was a love affair gone tragically wrong. Theories were wild. But one truth was consistent: Yu's final words proved it was no accident. International media picked up the story, claiming it as a glimpse into the darker side of stardom. Documentaries began production. Podcasts dissected every rumor. And Yu's name became a global conversation. What had been local grief transformed into international outrage. The phrase "shocking secret" trended not only at home but across multiple countries. A testament to the universal horror of betrayal and cover-up. Inside the hospital, the atmosphere remained suffocating. Staff walked with eyes downcast. Whispers cut off when superiors approached. And the weight of Yu's final revelation lingered like a shadow in every corridor. Some claimed the hospital administration had been pressured by powerful industry figures to remain silent. Others said the truth was too dangerous to release. One chilling account suggested a recording of Yu's last words existed, hidden deep within hospital archives. Its existence denied publicly but guarded in private. By the end of the first week, the scandal had reached a boiling point. Police announced they were reviewing new evidence, including hospital testimonies. Fans exploded with hope, believing the truth would finally surface. Skepticism ran deep. Too many times the truth had been promised, only to vanish into silence. As one fan wrote on social media, "If they bury his words, they bury him twice." The world waited as investigators combed through every detail. They demanded access to hospital files, medical records, to surveillance cameras. Swirled that audio had been recovered from the emergency ward. Faint but undeniable, Yu's final revelation, captured in his own voice. If true, be the smoking gun that confirmed what millions already believed, that Yu Menglong was silenced not by fate, but by design. And so closes with suspense at its highest. The hospital shook with his words. The public screamed for truth. And the industry trembled under the weight of suspicion. Full contents of Yu Menglong's shocking revelation remain locked away. What investigators are about to uncover in Part 2 will send shockwaves far beyond the hospital, across the entire nation. Darkest heart of the entertainment world. The whispers had grown too loud to ignore. For days, rumors swirled that somewhere inside the hospital, a recording of Yu Menglong's final words existed, proof that his shocking revelation had not been imagined, heard, or exaggerated, but captured forever in digital memory. When investigators finally acknowledged that such an audio file had been retrieved, the scandal that had shaken the hospital erupted into a nationwide firestorm. The audio, leaked in fragments, faint and broken, but chillingly clear in its intent. Voice, fragile and weak, trembled as he uttered phrases that would haunt all who heard them. "They pushed me, not an accident, don't trust them." The words cut like knives, tearing apart the official narrative of tragedy and replacing it with a terrifying accusation. Analysts replayed the audio endlessly, enhancing sound, debating every syllable. Some argued the phrases could be misinterpreted, others insisted they were unmistakable. The conclusion for the public was simple: Yu Menglong had been murdered. And he wanted the world to know. The hospital, once merely a place of healing, became ground zero of suspicion. Why had the audio been hidden? Why had staff been silenced? Why had records been sealed? Each unanswered question deepened the sense of betrayal. Demonstrators camped outside the hospital's gates, chanting through the night, "Release the truth, justice for you." The building itself seemed to tremble under the weight of public fury. Doctors resigned, citing unbearable pressure. Nurses admitted they feared for their safety. The institution was no longer trusted, it was condemned. Authorities scrambled to regain control of the narrative. Officials promised a thorough investigation. But the public's patience was gone. Too many promises had dissolved into silence before. Reports suggested that Yu had named specific individuals in his dying words, though the names were redacted from official statements. Fans speculated endlessly. Some claimed he accused close colleagues. Others believed he had implicated powerful industry figures who operated in the shadows. Every theory spread like wildfire, each more scandalous than the last. Meanwhile, the entertainment world collapsed under the scandal's weight. Productions halted. Stars canceled appearances. And agencies scrambled to protect their remaining reputations. Entire careers were destroyed overnight. By direct involvement but by proximity to the names whispered in connection with Yu's death. Advertising contracts worth millions crumbled. Streaming platforms pulled content featuring those suspected. The industry's golden sheen was stripped away, using the cracks beneath. Internationally, the story became a symbol of betrayal and corruption in the world of fame. Global outlets aired segments titled "The Star Who Knew Too Much" and "The Hospital That Hid the Truth." Documentaries were announced. Podcasts dissected every rumor. And Yu's name was etched into international consciousness. Candlelight vigils were held not only in his homeland but in cities across Asia, Europe, and America. Manh Long had become not just a star but a martyr. Yu's family, devastated but determined, stepped forward to demand justice. His father spoke in a trembling voice, "He left us words to follow. We cannot let them be silenced." His mother, clutching a framed photo of her son, wept as she begged the public never to stop searching for the truth. Grief galvanized fans, uniting millions in a cause larger than celebrity. It became a fight against deception, power, and silence. Investigators pressed deeper, uncovering financial records that hinted at bribery, tracks that suggested coercion, and testimonies that exposed fractures within Yu's circle. Witnesses described heated arguments in the days leading to his fall. Some admitted to seeing suspicious figures at the high-rise. Others hinted at a meeting that went horribly wrong. Piece by piece, a narrative of conspiracy began to form. Every time progress seemed close, files went missing, witnesses recanted, and evidence was mysteriously destroyed. Theories of a cover-up hardened into conviction. Many believed Yu's death was orchestrated by a network too powerful to confront directly, and that the hospital had been pressured to contain the truth. Others insisted Yu had been betrayed by those closest to him, turned into a casualty of jealousy and rivalry. The uncertainty was unbearable. But one fact united everyone: Yu had spoken. Words had revealed a chilling truth. The courtroom loomed as the final battlefield. Prosecutors hinted they had enough to bring charges, though who would stand trial remained unclear. Defense lawyers prepared to dismantle the audio as unreliable, claiming distortion and misinterpretation. Trial promised to be explosive, a spectacle where Yu's final revelation would be dissected, denied, defended, debated. For fans, it was less about verdicts and more about ensuring Yu's voice was never erased. Even as the legal machine turned, cultural impact was undeniable. Yu Manh Long's drama surged in popularity, streamed by millions who wanted to remember his art rather than just his tragedy. Songs were written in his memory, murals painted in city streets, fan clubs transformed into activist groups. He became a symbol of resistance against lies, a reminder that truth has a way of surviving even when silenced. But Tran sang, "Gaute Ayu." Others linked to the scandal saw their careers disintegrate. Whether guilty or innocent, their names were irreparably stained. Once beloved, now lived as pariahs, haunted by association. Silence, their absence, their inability to confront the accusations only deepened suspicion. The world had chosen its heroes and villains. The judgment of public opinion was harsher than any court. Still, mysteries remain. What exactly did Yu mean when he said "they pushed me"? Who was they? Why did the hospital hide the recording for so long? Was it fear, corruption, or something even darker? Each question is a wound that refuses to heal. Each theory a reminder that the truth remains incomplete. Scandal drags on. One reality endures: Yu Manh Long's final revelation will never be forgotten. His words shook a hospital, nation, then the world. They transformed grief into outrage, silence into protest, and tragedy into a movement. He may be gone, but his voice, fragile, haunting, defiant, continues to echo. The story has no ending yet. It remains an open wound, a mystery, a battle between truth and silence. One thing is certain: Yu Manh Long's final revelation has already changed everything. The hospital may have trembled at his words, but the world will never stop demanding their full meaning. Carpet Revealed will be here until the very last secret is uncovered, chasing every lead, exposing every lie, ensuring that Yu Manh Long's shocking secret is never buried again.